What's going on, y'all? It's your man's Jam here, back as we journey across media. This is season 2, episode 16. So we are more than halfway through the second season because y'all know I do 10 episodes a season. And we are in the wonderful world of Wonder Man. Today, I got some great guests with me here. Throw it off to my guy, Dennis, first. You might have seen him on Ironheart Pod. He was just recently on our TAT Family Best of 2025. Dennis, how you doing today, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. Trying to stay warm. I feel like my body is just cold every day with this cold front, man. I got heated blankets on me and everything. It's just crazy, but doing well. Finished Wonder Man a few days ago, and um, I just been it's been a good time, but ready for what's next, and watching shows with the lady and everything. So just chilling, man, chilling.
Yeah, man, I feel you 100% on the trying to stay warm. We were just talking about it off pod, but I have been sick for like ever since November, off and on, off and on. My lady just went to go pick up COVID test to see if it's COVID or what the fuck I got going on, but it's bad. But joining us today, we got our guy, I just call you the overall artist at this point, actor,
Yeah,
rapper,
they
extraordinaire.
when the option to put my display name, I didn't know which one I was gonna go with. I'm like, we're just gonna go with the basic one with the little
Mhm.
legal schmeagle right now.
But how you doing today, bro?
I'm good. For those who don't know me, my name is Rico Whitehead. I also go by Rico the artist when I'm making music. I am a rapper, actor, overall content creator. Uh, and yeah, I watch Wonder Man. We've talked about it in the group chats and whatnot. So I'm excited to get into it. I got some thoughts. I got some little theories here and there based off just like what I've absorbed so far. But yeah, man, this is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, let's have some fun.
Yes, sir. All right. So before we dive into the wonderful world of Wonder Man, Rico, I'll throw it right back to you. I always like to ask people what they've been nerding out to, what you've been watching, reading, playing, if you run into any games.
Games, I ain't gonna hold you. I've been snoozing on. But when I like am able to like sit down and really like hop on the game, I'm trying to replay or play for the first time, I should say the full God of War series.
Mm,
So I got a PS5. So, they got the
mm.
old joints on the little option to stream play it. When I stop being scared and actually start streaming games, I think I'm gonna start playing like that whole gameplay on there. But I've been playing. Bro, I'm on the first one, and there was this one, not even a boss fight. It was like just two like huge ogre type monsters, bro. When I tell you, I think I died easily 100 times to the point where like the game was like, hey, you can go to a lower level if you want. I'm like, don't patronize me. Like, hey, what are we doing? In regards to other forms of media, um I wouldn't say it's not necessarily nerding out, but I've been back on just like the show is coming back on. So like Shrinking is back. So me and my lady then started that back up. Hijack on Apple Music, Apple TV is back.
How is that? How is hijack?
I like the first one. I like the first one. The second season is interesting because they know that you don't want them to just rehash the same plot line on a different form of
Yep.
transportation. So
Mm,
without giving it too much away, it's the same situation but absolutely different for whatever reason. We haven't figured out why it's
okay.
different.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if for those who've started season two, it makes sense. But yeah, so it's been that. I'm debating when I'm gonna start the new Game of Thrones series, the Sir Duncan the Tall one. Y'all know how I
Yeah.
kind of feel sometimes about prequels. Uh but yeah, man, I've been kind of a little bit all over the place. Me been watching Percy, him go at it. Wasn't the hugest fan of this season, but I like the show, so I'm always gonna support it as long as they keep putting stuff out. Is there anything on Prime? Obviously, I'm waiting for Invincible to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I need to lock back in and finish up Gen V. I started it, got distracted with 12 other shows and forgot to go back and finish it. So I got to go back and finish Gen V, especially before the boys come out. So yeah, all over the place. Just doing what I do. You know how I go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to piggyback off what you said with hijack, I remember texting the chat. That first episode it got me, but what are we in like 3 or 4 episodes in now? And
Yeah,
I'm
something
like,
like
I'm like,
that.
I it feels like they rehashing, but like you said, in a different way. I'm all right with it. Like it's solid. It's solid for what it is. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Dennis, how about you, man? What you been nerding out to, watching, reading, playing, whatever, you know?
Oh man, all my get my episodes, my weekly episodes of everything. So Hell's Paradise, I need to watch the latest one of that. Going talking about anime right now.
I just finished watching it today.
Yeah, I still did watch that. Watched Free Run yesterday. I got some things to catch up on there. Gaming wise, I got back on Ghost of Yotei because I need to finish it because Crimson Desert's coming out, and I need to make space for Crimson Desert for sure.
Yeah, man.
Outside of that, I play Genshin Impact. It's kind of my like go-to chill game, and then Sir Duncan the Tall. I've been watching Knights of the Seven Kingdoms. I've been watching that hype for new episode tonight.
How is it?
I really
like it so far a lot.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
It's funny.
It's funny. It's different. It's different. He's an awkward, tall dude.
Yeah.
Trying to find his place basically, and
Nice.
as a knight. So yeah, it's good so far. Characters are charming. Reading Jujutsu Kaisen, as you know, I'm reading Jujutsu Kaisen. Had to go back, 'cause, bro. This is a show that like I've watched twice. The first two seasons twice, basically. Still didn't understand. Like I just don't get it. I try to like get what the hype is about, and so I started reading, and it's helped me a lot. It's helped me a lot piece together things I just didn't understand. The world just moves. The story moves fast. It just does, and they explain things kind of as they go. But just it's helped me piece together like the characters that I had no idea who they were. So I'm like,
That's
okay,
valid.
It's a lot better.
That's a valid critique because I definitely just watch it. Like this is fun to watch.
Yeah,
I
it's
couldn't
fun.
break down to you what's happening
going
like I
on.
could maybe with like Naruto or Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm enjoying it. Like, hey,
Yeah.
usually boxing. Like that's all I know. Like if you ask what happened, white haired dude, he acting up right now. Like that.
Yes.
I can't tell you really nothing else plot wise. The domain expansion, they tried to explain it. I was like, that just sounds like when people in Naruto do some type of jutsu. That's how I kind of just.
Yeah.
But I be having to equate it to other stuff. So you saying that, I'm like, okay, I'm not tweaking.
No, you're not. So, but in Naruto, like they over explain, right? And they do tons of flashbacks. So it's like you gonna know exactly
how this works.
Everything. How this works. Who these characters are, what jutsus they're doing, what they look like, everything.
What tribe, all of that.
Everything. Yeah. And Jujutsu Kaisen is kind of you have to like I watched twice, and you just kind of have to like really dive in.
I always tell people Jujutsu Kaisen is like the new age Dragon Ball. It's very fast paced, and not maybe Dragon Ball OG, but like more Z or Super, because it's very fast paced. You don't get much context to the point you got to like fill in the context yourself, or like you're doing read the manga to understand more. So I agree with both of what y'all said.
Yeah.
What else?
Reading, comics wise, reading Secret Wars a little bit. I told you that, so, we're the OG one.
You got a trade? That's the hardback.
This is like not the what do you call it? The thing that has them all together.
The compendium?
Yeah. It's like the whole series in one book.
You just made that word up.
No, that's a real thing. Is it all of the series though? Like, is it Secret Wars 1
through 11? Yeah.
Nah, I mean the parts. Like, is it the new Secret Wars 2015 version?
No. Just the OG story.
Okay.
The OG story of Secret Wars. So yeah, trying to see what's up. Doing my Doom research, doing my Dr. Doom research as we got the podcast, the unofficial Doomsday podcast. Trying to learn everything Doom and get ready because I'm hype about Doomsday for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Only thing I've really been nerding out to since we talked last week, or was it last week? I guess it was last week when I did the 28 days or 28 years later, the Bone Temple. But the only thing I've really been watching, y'all, is Dragon Ball with the lady. She's never seen it. So after the Dragon Ball announcement and of Super coming back and all of the others, the new remaster of the Beerus stuff and downloadable content for Spark and Zero, I'm like, well, this is the perfect time to get her into Dragon Ball, because then when it comes back in the fall, she could watch it
Hmm.
with me. And so we're like 14 episodes in. I texted you last night, Dennis, and she's loving it. She told me I text you too. She
I
was
was
like,
so surprised.
I don't. She was like, I don't want to admit that I love this because then I'm gonna be as big as a nerd as you are, and I'm not ready to admit that to myself. And I said, welcome to the land of weebs. Like, we here now. You here. So that's pretty much it. Same thing as you said. A bunch of weekly shows with the animes:
Hmm.
Hell's Paradise, My Hero Academia Vigilantes,
Hmm.
um, Hijack, like Rico mentioned, Knights of the Seven Kingdom. It's
Ooh, just
pretty much.
started Monarch. I did start Monarch.
What's that?
That's
The
on my
Godzilla.
list.
The
That's on my
Godzilla
list.
show.
Oh,
Yeah.
fire. Yo,
Yeah.
y'all are in for a
I just
time.
started it. So we just
That's
watched 2 episodes. So
shit.
I've
I
been
thought
meaning to
it
get
was a
to it.
one off, and they made a season 2. I'm like, oh, this must have did like insanely good.
Yeah, bro. I
Hmm.
think it's one of the. I don't want to say one of the best shows on Apple TV because Apple TV
Apple
has a
TV's got
lot
some
of. They
fire.
got
Apple
fire.
TV is probably the funniest streaming service of all time because they are probably the most consistent across the board with like quality. But it's
Hmm.
like if you don't know, you're
No,
not gonna find out. Like
Hmm.
get that
they're
man
not
some
gonna
cheers real
like
quick.
you're not gonna get a you're not gonna get a one commercial really for like a Severance. You're gonna get it as an amalgam. It'll be like Severance and then Shrinking and then
Yeah.
whatever else, and then it's like, hey, these are here. Y'all come find
Hmm.
us and let us know when y'all are
There's
ready.
like no marketing like at all for it, like
Yeah.
which
It's the
is
most
insane.
interesting strategy I've ever seen for a multi-billion
But
dollar
they
company.
they they getting awards though.
They
Bro,
are.
they
They
Getting
are.
awards.
hitting.
They
They
I
up.
are
feel like they.
hitting.
I feel like they make like the HBO quality shows with like the love for like maybe like how OG Netflix series used to have. Like we used to all dive like especially during COVID, we used to dive into Netflix series a lot more, Squid
Mhm.
Game, things like that. That's what it feels like with Apple TV.
It
Um,
also feels like they let more creatives have their own shows. So like Seth
Mm.
Rogen got like I think 2 that he's actively running. I
mhm.
want to say don't quote me on this, but I'm sure the lead of Shrinking, I think his name is Jason Segel. I think he's like if not the showrunner, like one of like the main writers or producers or something like that. That they let a lot of creatives. It feels like you hear more about creatives having their own show that they made and kind of like ideated on there. So I think that that's also just a dope process to see more people like Ben Stiller in Severance. Like he
Yeah.
has no involvement outside of like this is my show.
This is my
I
show.
made
Mhm.
this, I write this, I produce, so on and so forth. But he's
Which is
not in
crazy
it.
to me.
Yeah, especially concerning he was the early 2000s comedy guy. So
Mhm.
it's
Right.
like
Right.
it's interesting just watching how people's brains like work and that Apple is giving them the opportunity to try stuff out. So yeah,
That creative
shout out to
freedom.
Apple TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You mentioned Prime earlier, Rico. Only thing I'm really watching on Prime is about to be over now, but Fallout season 2, and then Hulu's got me with. It's technically not a Hulu show, but it drops every Thursday on Hulu. I'm tapped in on Abbott Elementary, man.
Habit.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
It's
yeah,
so
weekly.
it's
yeah.
so good.
I
I'm
watch
when
it
this
so
season
much it don't even like.
when
Yeah.
it yeah, bro when
Yeah.
this season ends, I gotta talk about it. I'm gonna try to have some actual like teachers or ex educators on to talk
Mhm.
about it.
That'd be
Um,
funny.
and then Fire Force, and then Sentenced to Be a Hero is my last 2
Yeah.
animes that I'm really locked in on. But they not
You
here
know
to
what's
tear us.
actually a good show? I'm sorry. I just thought about it not when you mentioned Hulu. Will Trent is good TV.
What
Like
is
I'm
that?
not a Will Trent. It's a detective show on
Will
Adding it
ABC,
to the list.
Hulu, whatever.
Interesting.
It comes on once a week. It's about a Puerto Rican guy, Puerto Rican detective from Atlanta, country accent, has a very traumatic backstory. This really won't tell too much of his story. He's dyslexic. He's trying to figure out, like, actively
Well,
as the show is going on, he's trying to figure out who he is as a person. Like, he's trying to figure out kind of where he comes from, and through it all, like, he's a genius in the field, essentially. Like, he
interesting.
sees things, he like can break things down, like, no, this is over here. He can map out almost the entire crime scene, like what happened, and all of
Mm.
this. He's still trying to learn how to relate to people. You still
Mm.
have your classic comedic hijinks that go on, but it's like a really good show. It's really well
Interesting.
acted. I want to say his name is Ramon Rodriguez. Is the lead and one of the executive producers. I think he's even directed a few episodes. That's like really good, like
It's
45-minute
called Will
episodes.
Trent.
Will
Yeah,
Okay.
Trent.
I
It's
just
on
looked up Will Trent, and
it's
it's
on season
4
3.
seasons.
It's 4 seasons. Yeah, it's I'm telling you, good TV. Me and my lady enjoy that a lot.
Interesting.
I'm gonna
Puerto
add that to the list.
Rican. in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
he got me. He got me. He got me immediately.
Dyslexic.
That's why I specified.
There's a lot of interesting things going on.
I
Yeah,
like that.
it's based off I think a detective series,
Mm-hmm.
like a novels or something like that. But you just
Okay.
reminded me when you said Hulu because that's where we watch it mostly on as well. Really good. I think you
Mm.
guys will like it, especially something just like to turn on. Like now, like you guys got 4 seasons of like I think each season is at least 15 episodes because it comes on like ABC, so it comes on
Mm.
like regular TV. So it's
Okay.
got like yeah,
Got
so
Gina
it's
Rodriguez
got some
in
heat
there.
up in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so I think
right.
y'all would like it.
All right.
Okay.
That's a show to add to the list. Like you got to
Yeah.
binge watch it. I like that. Is it
I'm
and
just
it's
Yeah,
ongoing still?
yeah.
Oh, all
yeah.
right. All right. I like that. That
I'm just
gives me
waiting
time
for
to catch
Paradise
up.
to come back to Hulu. That's my only Hulu thing.
That's the
Waiting for
one.
that to come back.
We
That's the
talking about
one.
that on we
That's-
gonna be talking about that on Agents of Fandom, and I'm
yeah.
definitely when it's all over, I'm gonna be
You
hosting a pod for that too.
tell him to holler at me for that one too. I might have to join y'all.
That joint
I
is
Yeah,
might have to
that. I'm
join
gonna let
y'all for
I'll let
Paradise.
him know today. That
Yeah.
that's a
joint
hit.
is that was
I
one of my
love talk.
best shows of 2025 for
So
real.
good.
Yeah,
So
and they're
good.
not playing around either. Like I like how
Mhm.
they didn't like half step it. Like they like look this next season coming. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
was actively shooting when it was dropping. I'm like I like
Mhm.
this. I
yeah,
like this a
man.
lot.
It feels like how we talk about it all the time in the chat, but how we used to get television. It feels like how we actually used to get television. Cable television would drop every
Yeah.
year consistently. Like
Hmm.
Percy Jackson is coming back in the fall in the winter.
Yeah.
As they said this year, so pretty interesting. But we talked
Also
about all of this
the
stuff.
pit do that
Oh,
too.
the pit, bro! I gotta watch the pit.
I
That's on
gotta
my
watch that
list too.
too.
I heard it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
Y'all should watch it. I
I
think
gotta
you'll
watch
like it.
that.
I don't even like Doctor TV like that. The only reason I even pressed play was because I was a fan of Noah Wild. Because as a shorty, I used to watch like the Librarians. So like when he would
Mhm.
do his little like TNT, he had like a TNT movie series where he would do like little magical stuff. I'm a kid, so he's all whimsical and I'm like, cool. I
Mhm.
didn't know nothing about ER like that. I knew the nigga from. Can I say that? Hold on. I don't know what y'all.
Yeah,
Oh, my fault. I knew him from the librarian, and this when you talking about like you talk about acting, you talk about going through all the stages of just like human nature, all the different types of people that you come across. Day players set the tone for the whole show. So like the people who aren't gonna be here next season, like whatever their 2 or 3 episode arc is, and it all takes place in one day like
Mhm.
from the start of his shift until the end of his shift is the whole day, hour by hour. So like
damn.
it's yeah, man. They get to it. They really get to it.
And they
It's
had
really
like
good.
I think Emmy nominations
They
for the
won some
first season
awards,
too,
They
yeah.
won some
or they
awards.
won some
They
awards.
got their
Yeah.
numbers
Mhm.
up.
I
They got
gotta
their
yeah.
numbers up.
That's on my. I keep hearing it. People at
Yeah.
agents keep telling like, "Yo, you need to watch this, bro." And I'm like, "All right, it's on
I
the
think you'll
list."
like it. I think you'll like it.
All right, all right.
If you like good acting, you'll like it for sure.
Okay.
You know me, man. All right,
Yeah.
so we talking about good acting. Let's talk about it. We here to dive into what I like to call the Marvel's version of the studio. That's like the best way I could explain this show to somebody who hasn't seen Wonder Man. I like the joke. Like I add, like the name of the pod is The Wonderful World of Wonder Man because this shit was just so wonderful, bro. To me, it was really good. So first thoughts I want to dive into is spoiler-ish, spoiler-free, whatever. But as I said, it was wonderful. I think the acting was top notch from all parties involved. I think for us not to have a superhero show that's focused on superpowers, we still had like when they showed his powers, I felt like the visuals was on point. There's certain things that Destin did, like I think it was that first episode where Simon is driving in the car and it's like from that front point of the hood of the car's point of view,
Hmm.
and it stayed on that for like a 2 minute or two. I'm like, yeah, this is it made me even
Different.
more hype for Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I'll throw it right over to you, Dennis. What was your first thoughts? Spoiler free, or you could throw spoilers. I don't care. What
Man,
you
throw
think of
them
the show?
spoilers in there, G.
Yeah,
Look,
we
Yeah,
gonna be we gotta talk about it.
we
Yeah.
gotta
we're
talk.
gonna talk about it. It's true. First thoughts. I was my first thoughts after watching the whole show, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so my first thoughts was like, man, I was really captivated by like just the whole acting part of it, like him trying to like the stakes felt high for me, and I can't remember feeling that way about something in the Marvel world that wasn't like, oh, a villain is like coming, or like the villain is doing something crazy.
Mhm.
And, it's the show had its villains or whatever, but it was more like, oh, can he get this job? Like, can he get can he rise to that moment of winning that job of Wonder Man? So I was like really all in on that part. That's when the show to me had the most momentum, and it was at its peak with him and Trevor Slattery, like their duo going back and forth. Um, Trevor obviously keeping a secret from him, but starting to really, you know, he was Simon was winning him over, and just them in that journey of getting to the roles of like Wonder Man and getting into that into the movie, I think as a top notch for me. That's what I remember. The stakes being high for that, and that's what really like captured me for the show.
Something I loved about this series as well was bring back superheroes trying to hide their secret identity or hide their
Mhm.
powers. I That felt very Iron Man 1-esque. That felt very Spider-Man, needing to keep the mask on after No Way Home, if that's what it is. Like, that's
Mhm.
just something I miss. Like, I think everybody in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is known or had like their powers or their skills. Maybe not Miss. I think Miss Marvel's another one, but her family knows who she is for the
Yeah,
most part. So I felt like it was refreshing.
it
Rico,
was.
what about you? First thoughts.
Um, well, real quick before I want to kind of bounce off what you just said. You kind of want to bring back heroes that got something to lose. Like Steve doesn't have anything to lose by people knowing who he is. Tony
Mhm.
obviously doesn't. Most of the Avengers really don't have anything to lose by being public figures, which is why the whole twist of Clint having a whole family on a farm was such a like, whoa, when did it like because
Yeah.
everybody knows who you are. You don't wear a mask or anything. Like you're easily Googleable. Like, who is the
Mhm.
Hawkeye? It's Clint Barton. So like you definitely miss that aspect to a certain extent of like people having things to lose because so many of them was either rich or some senses like celebrity where it was like, oh, it doesn't matter if people know who you are. My first initial thoughts, honestly, was that I really enjoyed it, but I can understand if people didn't.
Mhm.
So that we even got some people in our group chat that weren't really rocking with it, and I understood where they were coming from. I really appreciated it because as somebody who is involved heavily in the arts and it was something he said specifically that like really hit me. He was like he was going through somewhat of a panic attack and Trevor was telling him he was trying to like be like motivational or something and he was like I can't remember the quote directly but it was essentially along the lines of like I don't need a motivational quote, what I need is a break, because I understood that as somebody who when you are trying to do something that you care about and you just want somebody to truly believe, like even when he was joking with his agent like trying to like to guilt ride, he was like, I just need you to believe in me because he was joking but there was some truth behind that where you when you lead into his backstory, his older brother didn't believe in him, especially obviously following the death of his pops. His mom believed in him but it seemed like she was doing a lot of like kind of babying him along to, and
Mhm.
that's how his brother also spun it. Now you out on your own. Your lady leaves you because you pursuing this dream to the point where it's like you're absent and everything. So I really enjoyed the need to just, man, I just need somebody to just give me a shot. I don't want a handout. I want to earn this spot, but I've been trying to earn this spot for so long. If I can just get this, and then it's the thing that I feel like I'm meant to do. Let's say hypothetically, this is the last movie me and my pops ever saw together before he passed away. Because they showed at the end when he was doing his doctor's checkup, he still had the twist in his head. So it couldn't have been that far removed from when his dad pulled him out of school that day.
Mhm.
So this is maybe one of the last thoughts I got of my pops. Man, he's sitting there and telling me that he thinks I can do really good. I could be all the
Mhm.
things. And I spent 20 plus years going after this. And every which way turn, either I'm getting in my way, which is very human, it wasn't just a whole, oh, somebody's trying to hold me down. It's like, nah, sometimes I screw up.
He was wilding,
So,
yeah, in some ways.
sometimes I be wilding. Sometimes I'm doing too much because I care so much. And
Hmm.
it alienates people. It turns away the people that I care about. It turns away the paid opportunities. It makes life hard for my name to get out there. And I just need the one shot. And I really vibed with that. Um, it made me it a superhero or a superpowered show that puts superpowers on the back burner is already a risk as is. We've
Hmm.
talked about it ad nauseum how the promotion wasn't great until like the home stretch, if we're being
Right.
honest. Like we heard about this what summer of last year, if not a little bit earlier.
I think
And
the
then
first trailer came out 2024.
it was like we heard next to nothing. And
Hmm.
then we hear, oh yeah, we're just gonna throw it all out at once. Which in hindsight, I understand why. But because we don't know anything, we don't know what to expect. We thought, and then right before it drops, or right as it's dropping, an article or a post comes out where one of the execs was like, "Yeah, we could have used this as a tax write-off during the writer's strike." So you have all of this stuff leading up, and then the show comes out and it's good
Hmm.
to me at least. I enjoyed it. And not to ramble on for too much longer, but my first thoughts listening was watching it was definitely like, I really enjoyed this. However, comma, I can understand if MCU or comic book fans aren't enjoying this. And not even on some like, oh, because it's a black lead. I think
Right.
absent of that, I genuinely can understand why somebody may not have enjoyed this.
Hmm.
But as for me and my household, we enjoyed it personally. I really liked it.
I mean, you hit on a lot of good points. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, Snow in the chat said that, bro. He was like, "Yo, I watch superhero stuff for the cape
For
shit." You know what I'm
superheroes.
saying?
Which
And
is valid. Which is a
which is
hundred
a
That's a
percent
very
valid
valid.
take.
Star
It's
Wars
a
thing
very
too, like
like
with
we talk
Andor,
about that.
right?
We talk about that when it comes to Star Wars. Like
Yeah.
Andor is great television, but I want to see the Jedi. I want to see the Force. I want to
Yeah.
see the magic aspects of the Star Wars universe. To me, that's what makes it Star Wars, other and different than other sci-fi shit that's already doing this same shit. You know what I'm saying? So, 100%. Like I think something that really stood out with me was like the mental health aspect of it all. Like him, like you said, Rico, him being stuck in his own head, doing too much because he cares so much. You guys know me. I be rambling in the chat all the time. I be going crazy, sending thesis, which now I'm trying to learn to send a little bit more voice notes. But that's just because I care about these mediums so much. I want to talk about it with people that also want to talk about it. So seeing that in Simon, where he's like, "Yo, like this," trying to find the subtext in these characters or in these lines that he's supposed to be saying, even if it's just one
Mhm.
simple line. It's like, nah, it's because he needs for his work, for his performance to showcase the best because he needs a break, like you said, Rico. He needs a
Yeah.
break. So
I did love
I
that
res
about him.
I resonated with that a lot. I want to because I had it the way I have this set up. Well, y'all don't even know this, so it doesn't matter. But you mentioned it a lot, Rico, about his family. So I want to kind of dive into that a little bit. Um, One thing I really liked was that he was awkward around his family. I felt like that was such like something that a lot of people, right or wrong, can resonate with. He's isolated from his family because whether it's his brother not believing in him or his mom, like you said, babying him, his cousins just talking shit about his career. You know what I'm saying?
You
I
got a
felt
real
like,
job yet, so on and so forth.
like I felt like that was something. And then you're in a room full of people that is nothing but don't get me wrong, it's nothing but love. It's nothing but appreciation, especially for your mom, because it's your mom's birthday. But you just feel alone in that moment.
Hmm.
That shit really hit me at home. And then on top of that, he has a Haitian American background. So y'all know me, I'm very big when it comes to representation in the not just in the MCU, but in anything. And I always feel like Marvel is hit or miss. They have amazing hits with Black Panther, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, like where they go above and beyond to represent these characters. But then you got some like America Chavez or White Tiger, where they could have done a little bit better. Dennis, we talked about it on our pod, the unofficial Doomsday pod, but I couldn't only imagine how hard it is to be in the casting
Yeah.
department and trying to cast these roles, because it's one of those situations. Whereas, do you try to be as accurate as possible, or do you find the best person for the role? But for me, when you have a character like a Simon Williams, whose ethnicity, his race, his culture has nothing to do with being integral to the character, it's more along those lines of find the best person. And I really feel like yeah, he was, bro. They actually, he is West Indian. He's Haitian American, and they paid so much respect to that, to the point where, bro, Rico, not the artist here, but my boy Rico, he called me this morning because he finished the show. And he's
Hmm.
Haitian, and he's like, yo, bro, like when they were speaking Creole, he's like, I understood that. I didn't have to have subtitles on or anything. He's like, that shit meant something to me. So the fact that you have people feeling represented in a series where it's not even the focus of that, but they made it so
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
is fire. It ties into everything with his family. It ties into everything with his character, because you see, and a lot of, and speaking as a Puerto Rican, a lot of Caribbean like island households, that's kind of how it is. Like your job isn't important. Your job isn't, or because it's not what they want it to be, or
Hmm.
you haven't made it yet. Doesn't really matter. Your passions don't, they don't care about that. It's very strict, especially seeing that from his brother, you know. So on the flip side of that, to have his father be so important to his life, like, yo, I believe in you. We don't also see that as much either, where especially in people of color communities, right? So I think everything that they did, like with representing him, as well as that being Ya's like actual culture, was beautiful. Rico, do you have any thoughts about that with his family or like his culture specifically?
Yeah, from a creative aspect, you see it a lot where um and as you get older, I mean, I'm sure sometimes they do folks do actually behave, but sometimes you recognize that your family is the way they are due to fear of the unknown a lot of times when it comes to the creative thing, because it's way more people who are unsuccessful actors or musicians or rappers or whatever than there is that are, unfortunately. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, your mom always telling you, well, make sure you have a backup plan, or, well, your cousin is still hiring for so and so in case the music stuff don't work out. And you run into a situation where, especially now, and I guess in Simon's situation it's a little bit different, but he's not the first person to experience this, where it's like, if you got a loved one or a family at home and whatnot, you still trying to provide for that while pursuing the dreams and whatnot. It's like, okay, I have to work. Like, for me personally, I have to work the jobs I have to work, because as much as I would love to dedicate full time into making music, into doing the proper stuff for acting auditions, into whatever else, bills still got to get paid. Them hoes still coming in my name or my wife's name to make sure that we take care of home. So it's not fair to her or our future family for me to be out just doing whatever and be like, well, we just gonna make it work. No, you got to be responsible. But you go home and all I'm posting on social media is my creative based stuff. So all my family is seeing is my creative based stuff. Oh, did you
Mhm.
book this, or do how's that show going? They don't know that I'm performing for a show for a gift card and I didn't get the gift card. Like, they don't know all the stuff behind the scenes. All they can see is me still looking the same like I did 2 years ago when I said I was a rapper. When I said so, I can definitely understand, especially from just a household of somebody who is like maybe the sole creative mind in that household, to be, now I wouldn't say ostracized, because my family was eventually very understanding of where I was at, but I can understand, like, consistently hearing, well, make sure you got a backup plan, or make sure you're doing this, and that being almost like poison, because it's like, no, there is no backup plan because we're going to make this work. Will
Mm-hmm.
Smith got a phrase, I don't know if he learned it from somebody or what, but he was like, no plan B because it distracts from plan A. He was
Mm.
like, this has to work because I have no backup plan. I have
Yeah.
no choice. And that's where Simon was at. And his brother, who is working and doing all of this stuff to make sure mom can live a nice house and all of that type of stuff, he can't see that, because he's like, you see me grinding, you see me working, you see me got people
Yup.
under me now. Why can't you just do that? Which leads to the eventual outburst. So yeah, from a creative's perspective, while mine thankfully has never been that drastic, I can definitely understand that mindset, because when it's unknown to people who don't actively pursue it, or people who have seen it go bad, they're so quick to be like, oh well, you want to make sure you still got this, or you did go to school, so try to
Mhm.
use that degree. Never mind what the job market looking like, but make sure you use that degree and make sure all this type of stuff. So without necessarily even meaning to, like, people who love you can douse your flame
Yeah.
Mhm.
because they're so focused on the present. My son is actively not working, or he's actively not working a better job because he needs the hours to go to rehearsal, or he needs the hours to go to studio time and all of that type of stuff. So yeah, man, I've definitely I've seen it. I've heard stories. Like I said, thankfully, my story was never that drastic, but I know that feeling of being around people who you genuinely think and believe love you, and they don't, their doubt or worry feeds into them, whether purposely or not, kind of pissing on your dream a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I could agree with all those sentiments, to be quite honest.
Mm-mm.
My sister's 10 years older than me, and we have a fun relationship. She's like my second mother almost. I've always told, I mean, my lady, everything, like, I don't wanna make my mom proud because my mom is one of those situations where she's Simon. She's gonna be proud, Simon's mom. She's gonna be proud
Hmm.
regardless. Whereas,
Yeah,
like, my sister is the one I gotta, like, prove myself and make it happen no matter what. So I could just understand all of those sentiments. Dennis, how about you? What do you feel about that
Yeah,
situation?
nah. As much as what Rico was basically saying. Like I definitely, it's not the same vein, but similar. Because my with my background, like my mom was very way up in like Procter and Gamble, which is a very big company, and like she worked her ass off like her whole life type shit. And my dad was he was always in administration. He was an assistant principal. So like the expectations, like my brother, he's younger than me. He's a nurse, right, in Chicago. Um, and I've always like kind of bounced around with jobs, and it's been tough to like get to where I want to get to. But I've always had the creative side, and that's the stuff that I also show, and that's the stuff that my parents see a lot. So like they will take that and be like, they will think that like I'm not putting in the work to get to where I want, because they all they see is like, oh, I like Marvel, I like anime, I like watching TV, which I like games and stuff like that. They see all of that, and they don't think that
Mhm.
I'm like doing what's necessary. So like when Rika was saying all that, I was like, "Hey, I get that too. Like I
yeah,
get that." And the show
yeah, bro.
definitely does a great job portraying all of that, where he's around his family, but he feels awkward and distant because they don't know what he's going through. And I feel like we see that from even like when we were living in New York. Like New York is a place where all kind of artists and people go for like their dreams, like whether they're modeling or writing or whatever. Like I just feel like it's a place where a lot of people maybe feel that way, and like they're the odd person out in their family and shit because they're trying to pursue this dream that to other
Mhm.
people don't make sense. um so I think the show did a great job portraying that, and his brother is the insurance man and everything. But but I had a question off of that, because isn't his brother also like a character, right? Like, isn't his brother supposed
Yeah,
to be
so,
a character?
I was
Yeah,
that's on my list.
I
That's a
was.
great segue too.
That was because I was so I'm looking like I was telling mom like that's not accurate. I like it. It's not that's not accurate though. But him being difficult to his brother, I guess, is
That
some
was like
sort of
part of it.
that's part of the characterization. But that nigga's an outright villain in
And
in
he's
the
and
comic
he's a
books.
very, I don't wanna say big villain, but he has
He's a
prominence in
reoccurring
characters
kind of
like
character, right?
with
Yeah.
the Avengers,
Hmm.
specifically Wanda, Vision, and Simon.
Hmm.
So that's a great segue. But I do what you guys basically are talking about. I feel like a lot of people want to see the results, necessarily not
Hmm.
the progress, right? They don't care about the progress. They don't care about the
Right.
work that we got to put into whatever it is. They always
Which
just
is
want to
why
see
at
the
the
end
end,
goal.
the end was like kind of, it was like bittersweet, because like he starts to actually feel something because he's seeing his brother out
Yeah,
on the big screen. But
Yeah.
it's like, bro, you weren't like
You didn't care.
supporting
Like, you
like
didn't
that.
believe in me.
I think they could have paid that off a little bit better.
I agree.
But see, I also chalked that up to, and this was without fully knowing how
Mm,
Caribbean culture is, a mix of probably because when Pops died, he had to be surrogate dad,
True.
right? So a lot of it is still like, I ain't finna apologize, but good
Yeah.
job. Like I am proud of you, but like an apology is probably not gonna
Mhm.
happen.
So my lady said that. She said that she's like, so no apology. I said that's like the culture. Like you don't get it.
Yeah,
Like he's
that's a
not gonna
culture
get
thing.
that. He's not gonna
Him
get that
showing up
apology.
and saying you did good was the
That was
The
it.
apology,
apology, yeah.
essentially. Yeah, and it's one of those like if you know you're okay with it, like yeah, it would hearing I was wrong probably would have been better, but you also understand like, with certain people in your life that you love, you take what you can get. The
Yep.
fact that
Mhm.
he showed up, the fact that he was crying in the
Yeah.
movie theater, the
Yeah.
fact that he was genuinely like you did good.
Mhm.
Like, hey, the
That's
two words
yeah.
I'm sorry don't necessarily need to come out your
Yeah.
mouth. You've shown that you understand it now. And I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest thing. I think most artists really just want to be in some shape or form understood
And
Mhm.
by
seen.
those closest to them. And a lot of times, unfortunately, like a lot of artists aren't great with expressing because like that was the quietest we saw Simon was when he was with that episode was when he was at home at his
Yeah.
mama's house. That's
Mhm.
probably the fewest lines he
Mhm.
probably really had outside of obviously the Doorman episode. But I think like in regards to where he was the main character, that was
Mhm.
probably the fewest episodes he's had that whole series because it's like you're that little kid again that was
Mhm.
quiet in the carpool, that didn't have any friends, whose
Mhm.
brother was always telling him he wasn't doing good enough, who was
Mhm.
getting bullied by a little white kid at school. Like you're that again, and you're back in your childhood home. It doesn't make it better that you're at your childhood home in your childhood neighborhood. It's very easy to revert, and then
Mhm.
it doesn't get expressed until you break in wine refrigerators. So you feel me? Like I think that's a lot where that comes from, as
Yeah.
obviously like the culture, but also recognizing that the hierarchy of where you fall in your family, especially if you go back to that childhood home, usually ends up it's very easy to fall right back into that fold.
I
Mhm.
think also that moment with his dad, I mean, excuse me, with his brother at the end
At
kind of
the
mirrors
end.
that moment with his dad telling him like, "Yo, you were good." Because
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
felt like in that moment, like, "Yo," like you said, "This is my surrogate pops. This is my older brother. He's
Yeah.
been there since my pops died, so he had to take on that
Yeah.
role." Him finally coming and saying, "You did good. You were
Yeah.
great." It
But
hit a little bit different.
yeah, it did. And
Yeah.
what I do love about that ending scene after the premiere, where they're outside when they're talking, right?
Mhm.
That it's still like it's love, but it's like he. It wasn't like, oh, we're brother now. Like we're just like happy go lucky now. Like it's
Yeah,
still
they didn't
like
act like it wasn't 20 plus years of like
yeah,
arguments,
Yeah.
right,
which I
right.
like. Don't
I
don't
like
act
that
like
too.
everything's
I like that
y'all
too.
not best friends. Y'all can maybe grow to that,
Yeah.
but it's too much button heads that y'all have had
Mhm.
for it to
Mhm.
just be we're
Exactly.
brothers.
Yeah. All right.
Like you really like we not there. We're not
Right.
there yet. We're not
I
there yet.
I thought that
It
was
was
played
a
off
it was
well.
a pat
Yeah.
on the chest, like a good job, and then keep it pushing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Pretty
Like,
much,
Even
yeah.
Simon he was still like, I'm doing my
Yeah.
thing
yeah.
now, but I appreciate it.
But we're talking about his brother. I mean, in the comics, he's supposed to be the Grim
Grim
Reaper.
Reaper.
There's a lot of theories floating around about how if he could even become the Grim Reaper. Which kind of brings me to a question I'll have later on in the episode. But being the Grim Reaper, like you said, a lot of the butting head stuff, you see that. That's just
Mhm.
what it is between them. I know somebody in the Agents of Fandom chat on Twitter, he was like, I don't even want him to be the Grim Reaper in the MCU.
Mhm.
And I don't know
Mm-mm,
how I feel about that because you saying nah, you don't, Rigo?
mm-mm. No.
I'm
I
iffy
think
on it.
so him being a villain, in my opinion, feels forced. It feels like you would be doing it simply because it happened in the comics. Now, obviously, I did a very abridged research on who Wonder Man was before I pressed play, and to the best of my understanding, and please correct me wherever I mess up. In the comic books, Simon Williams is first of all, these niggas is rich. They're white and rich, billionaires. But Simon's older brother is insane. So his dad leaves the company to Simon, but dies when Simon's like 19. So Simon
Mhm.
runs the company into the ground because what am I doing with $1 billion company at 19? He
Mhm.
goes to his brother like, "Hey, you're making money now. Like, how can I get like you?" His brother say, "Oh, organized crime." So Simon tries to do that, fails miserably, so on and so forth. Powers down the line, yada yada yada. Then his brother, once Simon quote unquote dies, all of a sudden Simon's brother pops back up as a villain and like a super villain, like on top of
Mhm.
that. None of that, in my opinion, is earned in the MCU. I don't think we've earned that because he doesn't have they haven't explained it, so I'm assuming it doesn't exist. Brother doesn't have a dark past. His brother was never seen to be at odds with his dad or nothing like none of that would have been earned. I feel like trying to make him the Grim Reaper would feel forced.
Mhm.
And I'm sure we're gonna talk about this about what would be next for Wonder Man. I also don't see the MCU giving Wonder Man enough love and or focus to where we would dive deeper into not only him but the surrounding characters to where him potentially becoming the Grim Reaper would even make sense. Unfortunately, I don't think sometimes you just got to take what you can get, and I don't
Yeah.
think we get in the Grim
I
Reaper.
don't
That's
think
how
we're
I
getting
look at
there.
it.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
wouldn't want it for who this character is. I wouldn't want it. I like the overbearing, you just barely good enough brother.
Mhm.
I don't think he needs to make that full turn into villainy. Just be the annoying older brother. Like I think
So
that's a good spot for him.
so got two things. I agree. I don't think it's gonna happen. But I do think it can happen without it feeling forced. So that's my second thing.
Hmm.
The you brought up a good point, which is actually I was gonna say what we can kind of again. I'm skipping through points and stuff here,
My
but
bad. My bad if I'm
No.
no, no,
jumping
you're
too
good. You're
much.
good. You're good. That's perfect. One of my questions is, or like towards the end, was what's next for Wonder Man, right? We don't really know if he's going to be in Doomsday. We've seen the clip with him and Brandon Davis, and he's like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, which kind of feels like he might, but that was one of my questions is what's next for Wonder Man? And you brought up a good point. I don't know if they give us a season two, which if this was going to be a tax write-off, probably not,
Probably not.
no matter how great it's doing, probably ain't happening. So we probably don't have enough time to focus on it, like you mentioned.
Mhm.
But one thing I could see is if they were to paint I'm trying to paint a picture here, is if they were to go around the ways of the way it ends, Simon, we know, breaks Trevor out of the DODC. Which I have another point about the DODC I want to get to. But
Mhm.
with the DOD, him breaking out the DODC, I could see that being an issue for Simon's family. His mom going to his mom, going to his brother, and putting pressure on his family, which could make his brother lose the insurance company and have this more of a hatred towards Simon because you had the good path that you've been chasing this whole time. And now you gave it up for this terrorist
Hmm.
or whatever. And so now that the DODC is putting this, I would say, I don't know, like what's
Hit.
the word I'm looking for?
Pressure.
Pressure, yeah, it's on his family. It could, and he loses again, loses the insurance company. Mom's is now struggling, X, Y, and Z. That could
Yeah. Like
Loses the
build that,
house.
mom might
loses the
die or
house.
something like
Mom
that.
might
You
Yeah.
lose the
feel
house.
me?
Yeah.
Like that could cause the brother to go insane or just build this so much hate that he has to go after Simon X, Y, and Z. Now, I think that's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. That's just me trying to put a theory on how it could happen. But
Hmm.
to your point, Rico, I don't know if I want that either. Like I feel like we're at a point where he's good enough, like you said, just being the
Yeah.
brother that is
You're
annoying, that
you're
has that
always trying to prove something
you're
too.
like how I'm trying to prove to myself. I'm good with that because it's
Hmm.
relatable. It's from an older sibling to a younger sibling in a family dynamic that's very relatable. But that kind of brings me towards that DODC question that I want to not really question, but kind of more of a note that I wanted to throw out there. It's a theory that me and Zen have talked about in the chat a little bit. But the DODC was built with Stark. In 2012, we find that out in Homecoming. That Stark Industries and the Department of Damage Control were built together to kind of clean up the issues of superheroes. It has now been evolved into like basically a damn near
Superhero
a
Gestapo.
superhero, yeah, and what's very interesting about that, we've seen it in Miss Marvel, we've seen it in what was it, No Way Home, I believe, yeah, No Way
Yeah.
Home,
He was
and
in No
Hmm.
Way
now
Home.
Simon Williams. Um, the Department of Damage Control, my theory is that it's gonna wind up being the Department of a couple things. It can go a couple ways, but I believe it's gonna turn into what we all I feel like all believe is a mutant agency, an
Mm,
anti-mutant organization. And in the comics, you have three main ones with heads of heads of state or government figures. You got Department of Mutant Affairs, which I mean I think that's just the easy segue. You change Department of Damage Control to Mutant Affairs. You have
Mhm.
another one which is Mutant Control Agency, which that one has Henry Gyrich that we kind of all know about from like the X-Men cartoons growing up. And then you got the Mutant Containment Unit. I don't think those last two are really what I foresee for that department. I really think it's going to be a accumulation of all of them. Like you're
Mhm.
going to have Stryker, you'll have Henry Gyrich. Um, I'm just assuming. Would you guys have any thoughts about that when it comes to the DODC becoming maybe a mutant affairs organization? I'll throw it over to you, Rico.
Um, I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. I feel like it's really tough for me as a fan to believe that the MCU in 2030, whatever it's supposed to be, would be anti-mutant based off of everything that they've seen. And that's why it's so tough for me to try to picture what brings them in properly and also
Good point.
what an
mm,
organization that's against them looks like without, because my thing is because the whole thing about the DODC is that they're supposed to be coming in for like the biggest threats or whatnot, right?
mm,
If you listen to my voice memo that I put in the group chat, I was trying to question how they even found out. Me and Zen were trying to question how they even found out about Simon to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was somewhat theorizing was that essentially all files on potentially superhero beings that were shields got kind of transferred to the Department of Damage Control. Because how else did Tony know about Peter to
Spider-Man.
begin
Right.
with? There's
Right.
no reason for you to even know that Peter exists in Queens. Like, and specifically that it's Peter on top of that. Let alone it being Spider-Man, but specifically that it's Peter. So all of that to say, um, I think that you are on the right path. My biggest issue is I need them to land the
Put the
ship
pieces
well
together. Like,
with how they do mutants,
the
simply
mutants.
because we have but and that's the downside of the mergers or lack thereof and the disagreements and whatnot. We can get into monopoly talk later, but that is one of the downsides of the legality of all of that, because you set up, see, almost 20 years now of superheroes and aliens, not just superheroes.
mm-hmm.
Thor is well loved.
Mm,
The Asgardians are on Earth. There's a new Asgard on Earth. They
mm,
walk around, they're mating, they're doing all of the things. And you
yeah.
expect me to believe you scared of some dude who can shoot laser beams out his eyes? We got literal gods. That's the
So,
only
so
I
you
that's
got
the
one.
saying
only
I got 1 point to that. When you're done,
that's the only issue I currently have with how Marvel. I think you're right. I think somehow, someone, the DODC, excuse me, is going to end up turning into the pretty much the mutants, gather them up. But the issue I'm having is trying to figure out how are you going to convince the audience that mutants are truly a threat without looking like a huge hypocrite, because we got all these superheroes y'all niggas called on before
the
to
Magnetos.
you.
so
It
look.
would
So
have
here's
to
my.
be
So,
him, right?
Well,
so
He
it's
here's
would
got to
my
have
be
to
point.
be the.
Magneto's. Got to be the baddest motherfucker
So
ever.
here. So
He
here's
has
my
to
point.
be Thanos level.
It's
Yes.
yes, and that's what I was about to say. So the biggest thing in the Marvel comics, because I agree, us as viewers, we're not in that universe. We're not a
Hmm.
part of that art.
True.
We're like we don't care, right? We are the
Hmm.
audience. We're viewers. But in the universe, specifically the comics, what makes people so fearful of the mutants, even though it's comics and there's superheroes, gods, aliens, whatever all around, is that anybody can pop up and be a nuke level threat. Like literally their power can be a nuke. So that's kind
Mm,
of how Civil War happens in the comics is
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
is just some kids that weren't ready to control their powers and don't know anything blow up a whole city block. And
yeah.
that's the only thing I could think of because we kind of see that
mm,
mirroring with Miss Marvel. She doesn't really know what she's doing. She drops a person and then she has to save them. And then Spider-Man is like all across New York City. So I feel like that's the caveat to that.
Man,
But I
no
agree
wonder
with
they could
you.
blow up the whole city block right now.
I mean, he blew up
He
the
basically
whole. He
did.
blew up the whole. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. Us as the audience is where I like, because I kind of understand in universe, but as the audience, why would we care that much? Why would we feel like this DODC needs to exist? We've seen it so many times in the original X-Men movies. We've seen it in the cartoons. How do you make it feel different? And that's my biggest issue is when Secret Wars happens and we get this whole, post, what is it,
Like
soft reboot or
soft
whatever.
reboot.
Like, I don't want it to just be a streamline. All right, now we got the rights to this. We got the rights to this. Let's just throw everything in there. Like, it feels like it needs to be a little bit more of a reset than a reboot. And that's my only concern. So I'm with you on that.
In like, I like reset their minds almost.
What's crazy is in the Infinity Saga in the comics, that's what happens when Adam Warlock snaps and everything. Like, that's everybody, like even the heroes don't remember. There's like a select few. I think the Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, Adam Warlock, a couple others like that. Actually, even Thor, like nobody remembers. Everybody goes back to their normal life. So it's very interesting. I thought that was going to be something that happened in Endgame, and it didn't. They just keep the universe going. And I'm like,
everybody remembers Endgame.
Everybody remembers. They talk about the blip, 5 years, people are gone, which we haven't even really dove into the 5 years of people being missed. We get glimpses here and there, like in Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we really don't have any essence of that time missed. So
do you think that the Marvel, like, do you think they skirted past that too quickly? I feel like they handled it somewhat well. Like it was mentioned. I think the best example of it was which one had Yelena disappearing? Was that Hawkeye?
That was Hawkeye.
I think that was the best active example of watching somebody deal with that. But I do think that, I feel like it should have had a tougher time of people trying to readjust versus just being like, yeah, guys, this is 5 years later. Some people who popped up in the middle of a basketball court or something like that. But in general, we good. So I can see that really being an issue. But yeah, all things to get back to your original question, I do think that they're quietly hunting for mutants now, and they just I don't know if they haven't fully said it because they don't know how to unveil it. But I do think, or I should say, I'm really interested in how you make all of this work because you can't really make me scared of. I feel like, and once again, this is somebody like, say I was living in this world, like say I live in New York where everything goes down, and I survived. I survived '08. I survived a blimp. I survived every other fight that it was really not. I didn't survive like all of that.
Kingpin. The blackout from Kingpin.
I've survived all of this. Now you've been to tell me, hey guys, there's a new thing going around that a teenager around you may have powers. I just saw a teenager just whipping around the air. Like, I don't know if you feel me. I don't know. I genuinely just don't know. And I want it to go well. I hope that it has some type of ripple effects towards Wonder Man. I came up with a theory of how I think he could potentially be introduced in Doomsday or Secret Wars. Because the same way that they found Spider-Man, Captain America could be watching him and be like, hey, I ain't here to blow up your spot, but we need help.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we gonna see. And well, we can keep talking, but I have some other things I want to talk about with Wonder Man. Some of the points I wasn't the hugest fan of. Or I should say, I just have more questions on, so on and so forth. But yeah, let's keep going.
Dennis, what do you got thoughts of when it comes to the mutants and the DODC and all of that?
I think Rico kind of put that in my mind now that I think they probably are quietly hunting mutants at this point. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the DODC has quietly gained a presence in the MCU. I know that we just got the info that maybe, what's his name, Trammell Tillman from Severance.
He's gonna be the head.
Might be the head of it all.
Might be the head, yeah.
Might be the head of it all. So that
he's playing who?
They didn't say who he's playing. That's what I'm thinking. He's either gonna be Henry Gyrich or Stryker. Because, and I'm leaning more towards Henry Gyrich because the guy in Wonder Man was the vice president of. He wasn't just the vice president of the department of DODC. He was like they called him something else, right? The white guy that was walking around,
The guy's boss.
the guy's boss, but he wasn't just the. I
I don't
have to
remember his
maybe
title, but I think he was up there, whatever he
he was
was.
Mhm.
right.
He was like
So
one of the primary investors too. He was telling how like our investors are mad that the prison's
Mhm.
half empty, which already lets you know that they got an agenda. It's not to make the world safe.
Better,
It's
yeah.
we spend trillions of dollars on this state of the art facility,
Facility.
and we do not got no niggas up in here right now. Like we
mhm.
need to. Where have we heard that before?
Which
Like
is crazy
so.
because they just got they put Trevor Slattery in there opposed to
That's
putting him
why
in the raft, right?
it's just to fill it to say that we have a top notch terrorist and the look guys
Mhm.
were doing our job.
Mhm.
Which is insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane
Yeah.
because you got the raft where the leader is. The leader is in the
That's
raft.
yeah.
Why would you not put the leader in? You know what I mean? So
Also,
Yeah.
why do you have if this is supposed to be where the baddest of the bad go? Why do you have this prison in the like what was there Nevada or something like why like they're not directly in society but they're close enough
where
like
people can drive to work,
what
like you
yeah
gotta, you know what
why
I'm
do you
saying?
have this in the same realm that regular people if these are such a dangerous group of people
Because
why
if
are
they
they so
break
close
out,
to it's over with that little
Yeah.
town is over with if these
Yeah.
guys are that bad
Maybe it's
if
not that. Maybe they're not that bad. Like I
that's
don't
what I'm
know. That's
saying.
what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking is that these guys at most you may have like eco terrorists or like mad scientists who have probably
Yeah.
built some of the most insane stuff, and they're trying to get more superpowered. They're not prepared for superpowered beings,
Mhm.
and I think Wonder Man is going to be the reason why, or their justification for really like tapping in and like
Mhm.
souping it up to Kingdom
hmm
Come. Maybe they call Hammer. Maybe he's still crawling around somewhere. I
so
don't.
that
You
brings
feel
me
me?
to a
So
theory. That brings me to one of my points. Actually, I want to talk a little bit about Roxxon because Roxxon
Rocks on
continues
to
to
yeah.
show up.
be in everything, but we don't get Rock. We don't get the head. We do
Yeah.
not get and I'm blanking on his name. I should have put it down. But the guy that becomes we don't get the Minotaur. So that's what he is. The
hmm
Minotaur. He's one of Thor's main. I don't want to say main villains. He's a Thor villain that kind of
hmm
appears as other villains for like Avengers and things like that. But it's a Thor villain, and
hmm
the fact that we keep seeing the company. We've seen it in Loki. We've seen it in this. It was in a couple other things. We also see in the Doorman episode, which we'll get to next, but they were messing with the Dark Force.
Mhm.
And that right there is a tie-in to stuff that is not MCU, but
You
it's
talking about what
happened.
you call? You talking
Cloak and
about?
Dagger,
Yeah, yeah.
and technically this is now MCU because they decided to add it in there. But Agent Carter, that like one season show, and
Mhm.
it plays a lot. The Dark Force and the Dark Dimension play a
Isn't that
huge
Fantastic Four
impact
stuff?
in Agents of Shield.
With
Interesting.
So
Reyes, right? Wasn't Ghost Rider dealing with that?
nah, that's Mephisto's realm and all of that
Oh,
stuff.
okay,
But
okay.
Mhm.
there's a season in Agents of Shield where they deal with the Dark Dimension. So I thought that was pretty interesting that we have all of these ties to Marvel's overall like umbrella of television, but they don't consider certain stuff canon, like Agents of Shield, like Cloak and Dagger. Which there's theories that Cloak and Dagger will pop up in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. I don't know how true
Mhm.
that is,
It's too
but
many. There's too many names in that movie,
that
bro.
I agree. I
It's
agree.
insane.
And Brand
I
New
don't know if we
Day.
got time. I don't
In
know if we
Brand
got
New
time
Day.
for that. But it's too many names. It's too many names in that movie,
And
bro.
Cloak's power is
The Dark
essentially the dark dimension, like
Dimension.
the
Yeah.
dark force, the dark
Yeah.
force. So to see Roxxon
Yeah.
be
What Roxxon got going on, man?
the focus on how Doorman got his powers, which makes me think that that investor that they were talking about, one of the biggest investors is Roxxon. And so I feel like Roxxon will be, I don't want to say, because Stark Industries, we know based off of what is it? I think it was No Way Home, where they talk about how Stark Industries is having issues, or was that it's
No,
some, it was one of,
it's right before no it's Far From Home because he tried to call
that's right.
Happy. And Happy's like, bro, I'm trying to get all these tools back. Like
Mhm.
he had a list of stuff that was missing. So there's
Yep.
a breach somewhere in Stark and a lot of very
Which is
volatile
supposed to
things
be
got out.
Armor Wars. That was supposed to be what Armor Wars was essentially was going to
Yeah.
be,
Uh,
right? So my thing is, we know Stark Industries is having issues internally, and that's who created the DODC. I feel like my theory is Roxxon is going to be, or they are the big investor behind, excuse me, the DODC. They'll be what, to your point, Rico, they'll be the ones to soup up the maximum state prison or
mm,
whatever, add
Hmm.
some mutant contingency plans for that, and I think boom, we
mm,
might get some more love in that department because there's to me there's no reason, even if you don't really showcase the Minotaur versus Thor, I think that's kind of already said and God, like we're not gonna get that, right? But
Hmm.
and you don't have to have the Minotaur. We have to have something with Roxxon. We got to find out why they're still being around. It can't just be a little Easter egg to
yeah, because
cameos
they're
for
yeah,
comic references. Like that's not doing anything for any fans but me. You know what I mean? Like so, I think they have a bigger play at this. And to bring it now full circle to the Doorman episode, I want to
yeah,
talk about the Doorman episode. Me and Zen were talking about it I think Rico, you also mentioned it in the chat, but I feel like this episode really messed up the momentum for me.
absolutely.
I think this could have
I
been,
can.
first off, I like this episode, but I
Hmm.
feel like it could have been a 10-15 minute montage in the episode in one of the other episodes. Like, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I think I
It was
like it,
like,
but I seen somebody make this, and this is my last point that before I turn it over to y'all. Somebody said I feel like this could have been an episode like in the show Atlanta,
yeah,
and I was like,
yeah,
I like this take. I found that interesting because that's kind of what it felt like. The black and white was awesome, all of that. Another point that somebody made that I also agree with is if this was a movie that they were shooting, he had that Doorman comic accurate outfit. It wasn't comic accurate. Why didn't they just give him the comic accurate outfit? Because it was a movie instead of making it whole like a bank heist thing, right?
Hmm.
So
hmm,
there's a lot of issues I had with this episode, but I still liked it for what it was. What did you guys think? Dennis, I'll turn it over to you real quick first.
Yeah, that like you said, it slowed momentum down, and I was wondering like if they were gonna get back to present day or whatever. But they take you through the whole journey of why superpower beings are not part of the movie industry. Um, and it was well played out. And I did see somebody also say that, oh, this is the episode that shows the superhero fatigue too. This is the superhero fatigue episode with how
I didn't think about that.
yeah, how people were just like kind of whatever about him after a while and all that. I thought that was an interesting take on that as well. Uh, but yeah, I mean, the episode was in itself was cool. And when I noticed they were doing the monotone black and white throughout the whole episode, I was like, oh, okay, this is this is what they're gonna do the whole episode. And um, it was interesting. The guy played it well. Liked the character and the nod to the comics was cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to say about it,
Got
honestly,
you.
outside of
I
like the things that people have said about it that I've noticed. I was like, oh, okay, it's an interesting take.
Yeah.
But yeah,
One thing I thought about as well is this, just speaking with you guys about it, I felt like this could have worked like a special presentation. If they were going to give us a whole episode like on superhero fatigue, because like I didn't even think about that superhero fatigue stuff, but if they were going to
mhm,
give us a whole episode on it, why not just make it a little bit longer, throw it in as a special presentation of
mhm,
why, and then that could have been a setup to Wonder Man itself right there. You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
we're getting a special presentation with Punisher, which takes place after Daredevil Born Again season 1.
yeah,
So I feel like they've lost that format of special presentation to do little things like that, set up for another season or set up for a new show that's coming out. Like, and this whole series was a spotlight, which I want to get into next. But Rico, what you have thoughts on with Doorman and this whole episode?
I think that was probably the main episode where I made my point was like if folks didn't like the season, I understood because like you said, it's definitely a an Atlanta episode because Atlanta had moments where they just like nobody from the main cast was in the show, and it would just be an episode about some very nuanced thing to like a meta thing. That's the word to really like just make you think, and it was cool. Like I didn't dislike it. I was watching it. And I was like, this could have been, you could have made the episode where he mentioned Doorman longer and it just been him narrating what happened and his voice eventually fades out and then we just watch the whole thing go down. Um, excuse me.
That's a good point.
I think my biggest issue with that episode was that if you are going to show it to show why it's almost impossible for a superpowered being to be an actor or be in Hollywood, you should have paid it off by allowing Simon Williams' powers to be known and him still being Wonder Man. I
Mm,
think that's how I would have paid that off personally.
That's what I thought was gonna happen,
Because
actually.
That's my theory is
Simon
more
Williams
going
doesn't
back.
go by his he's everybody knows who Simon Williams is in the
Hmm.
comic books. He's a movie star who does superhero things.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like that's his whole thing. And he's more of a pacifist where like he'll use his powers like to defend versus go on offense. Like if it's a fight breaking out, he'll use his powers to evacuate the neighborhood versus
Hmm.
like actively going to fight the like yeah, I feel like there was a bunch of ways you could have played it. I didn't dislike the episode, but I understood folks being like, we ain't really need that.
Hmm.
But shout out to Byron Bowers. I believe that's the name of the yeah, Byron
The
Bowers
actor.
who played Doorman. I thought it was a pretty good performance. The Josh Gad bit was funny, I will admit that. His
Hmm.
powers are interesting. I wouldn't have minded them actually like really investigating that instead of him just being a portal. Like, what is this dimension that you are or can go in?
Hmm.
Like, I feel like, and I could be wrong. I'm perfectly fine with being wrong, but I feel like for them to go as in depth to describe what's essentially going on inside of him, that could have been a payoff down the line. Potentially, he could be
Probably, yeah.
used. He
Hmm.
disappeared, so we don't know what's going on. We don't know if he's at the DODC or if he's on in the raft or what. We don't know where he's at.
Hmm.
I would not be surprised if we see him again somehow, some way. If Cloak somehow pulls him, because if they use say they
That's
use
what I'm thinking.
Cloak to teleport to get to certain bases and whatnot. If Cloak is familiar with other people who use Dark Force, maybe he finds not only Josh Gad, but finds Doorman and be like, hey, we actually need you to get out your feelings, get out the PTSD moment and help us out here or
Hmm.
something. I don't know, but I didn't dislike the episode, but it was cool. It wasn't
Yeah.
like it wasn't life changing or nothing, but I didn't hate it. But I once again, like I said, with the series in general, if folks didn't like this episode, I can't be mad at them
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it takes you way off the tracks for where we were at and what the eventual lead up is going to be for something that, in my opinion, could have been a 20-minute detour that's being told via like Simon telling uh Trevor who Damar is.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I just
I ain't mad at it.
I just hope they pay off like some of those things like you just said. Like I hope they pay off like the dark dimension thing. Like I want to know more about it. I want to like that's the reason why you put that in there right next to the Roxxon thing. Like I want to know what
Hmm.
Roxxon is up to. Like you've been throwing them in a couple of these shows. So it's like I
And
want to
that's
know.
why
I hope they pay it off because if they don't, you'd be like, what? Like
Why?
what
What
is
was the
that?
point? What was the
Yeah.
point?
but then it makes me wonder if you were so potentially okay with this being a tax write-off. So the dark dimension just my thing is, you know what? Let me say this, and then
Hmm.
we can continue. I don't mind things not being connected to the greater scheme of things.
Sure.
If you let us know it's not connected to the greater scheme of things, Werewolf by Night has nothing to do with anything that's going on. We may not see him during Midnight
And there's
Suns.
no connection to anything
There's no.
else.
It's just this is just a character.
But
We're just
Simon,
giving
but
you a
Wonder
story.
Man has those connections. So it's like,
But my thing is, if you guys don't know what y'all want to do with this, if you guys just like, hey man, we had some money laying around, somebody
Hmm.
liked the story of Wonder Man, and we decided we wanted to do something, and let's see what happens. I wouldn't even mind y'all coming out and saying we trying to see what happens because essentially that's how Marvel kicked off. I mean, MCU kicked off throwing things at the wall and seeing what stick. We're gonna gamble with Iron Man first. Are you serious?
get that man
So
some shoes.
if this is just y'all trying stuff to see if there's potential for this hero to do something, I'm cool with that. My thing is if that should be what Spotlight is. That even if they
Hmm.
don't even if they don't verbalize that, because they ain't gonna tell the audience that, but even if that's like the conversations within Marvel, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about. I'm trying to think of of another
Echo,
niche ish. Echo. I don't know much about
because
this
Echo
Echo
was the
character,
spotlight. That was the
but
first spotlight.
there's potentially something here. Let's do a spotlight and see what happens. If folks rocking with it, we'll do season 2. You feel me? I don't really know much about this Wonder Man character, but shoot, let's try it and see what
Mhm.
old boy with is it Norman Rad, who the other guy that can wield the hammer for Thor, what's his name?
Beta Ray Bill,
Beta Ray Bill. Norman Rad, where'd that come from?
Silver
Uh
Surfer.
Thank you. I'm like, what is like, I don't know where that
Well,
name came
because
from.
because
But
Silver Surfer was supposed to be
It
one.
was
It
a,
was
it
it
was
was
supposed to.
like
No,
a
it was going to
rumor.
be a special
It was
presentation.
supposed to be, yeah, it was supposed
so
to be
my
rumored.
like let's say say for example, somebody want to do Beta Ray Bill. Hey, folks rocking with Beta Ray Bill in the comics. Let's see, give him a spotlight and see what happens. Obviously, that's very expensive, and but they got the money and they're gonna make it back.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what you want your spotlights to be, act like it, I would say. You feel me? You know, after a certain point, if you've made your money back and if it's worth making a season 2. I didn't even dislike Echo, but I understood that this probably wasn't going to get anything past this. But you
Mhm.
went through all the trouble to make this. You got to give it legs to stand on.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it's just to have all these potential things that we don't really know what's gonna happen with it. If your spotlight is just a tryout, like I'm cool with that. But I feel like I would like to know from a consumer perspective that that's what it is. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm gonna shut up after this.
So
I
a
don't even
tryout for
want
what though? Like it's a tryout for another season or a tryout for?
another. So I would say if let's say Rico was in charge of the MCU,
Mhm.
right? Obviously, this is me acting as if I got a blank check
Yeah.
from the mouse to make things work, right?
Okay.
If there's a superhero that has just enough like push behind his or her name, right?
Mhm.
And I think we can tell a really compelling story in 8 to 10 episodes.
Hmm.
In a legit story, not some not no BS filler. Like we can tell a legit beginning to end story that ends, but if there was potential for continuation, we could still make that happen.
Yeah.
But we don't know if he or she is good enough to be worthy of a movie per se.
Yeah.
That's what my spotlights would be. The
Hmm.
spotlights would be after getting a bunch of pitches in for different heroes and or villains about stories that y'all want to see made.
Hmm.
Pick from what I think are the best scripts, the best potential actors and actresses and all of that.
I
And we're
agree.
gonna give y'all this checkbook, make this happen. Y'all got X amount of time to make this happen. Let's see what happens. And if we're getting really great feedback,
Mhm.
this can now become a series. And if it's really doing what it's supposed to do, all of a sudden he doesn't have to get his own movie, but he can pop up in the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
He can pop up as a villain
Right.
for
Right.
somebody. You feel me? Because now he has that. And I know a lot of people don't like the fact that they got to do quote unquote homework with Disney Plus, and that's fair. That's a separate discussion. But now there's there's
Give
status
us
for this
that up.
character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They reputation. There's a reputation for this character now. We
Yeah.
got 2 seasons, two really well received seasons. If everybody care about Rotten Tomatoes, we got two very highly Rotten Tomato series. And now when he pops up to save the day here or to do or to cause this type of villainy, it's not out of nowhere. We don't have
Mhm.
to give a backstory. So that's how I would do it. And if that's what Wonder Man was, now you got to pay it off because the people have spoken.
I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool with throwing Wonder Man into like the movies and team ups, all that. That's what I want to see.
Hmm.
But like, I'm. It's tough because my whole thing was when I was talking about in the chat was like we're just getting these one seasons
Hmm.
of the coming to
Of
be
new
story.
characters.
Yeah, new characters of like the coming to be. Even the movies a little bit like I mean with Shang-Chi, obviously he's now Shang-Chi. Um, I just want to see more of that. Like I'm and
So
my main
would you
series.
say a 2 season minimum?
Yes, like because like now my biggest thing is like I now want to see Moon Knight. Like I want to see Moon Knight, and that's who I just use now because that first season is literally just him becoming cool with all of these personalities he's got, and like now
Mhm.
he's the character that we all like know and recognize and stuff. Like
It's
now,
been crickets.
I want to see that character do Moon
And
Knight
we probably
stuff,
not gonna see
which is
him anymore because of
which
Oscar
is,
Isaac.
but it's crazy because you can do right. That's the whole thing. But like, I would love to see like a Moon Knight series take off, like how I know they're treating Daredevil. Like Daredevil is already that character,
Hmm.
which they didn't have to do because the Netflix did all that. But like, he's already that character. Now you can just do things with him, throw
Mhm.
him in all kinds of scenarios. The
And
hand,
we
the
haven't
all
gotten any season 2s besides Loki, right? When you
besides
think about it,
Loki, right?
we got
Hmm.
WandaVision and then technically Agatha All Along, but that's not really the same
Yeah.
series. It's completely different.
But you
I
threw her
agree.
into Multiverse of Madness, and that works. Like
That
that kind of
works.
stuff
I
works.
think I
Cause
agree with
yeah,
what
cause
Rico's is saying
she
though.
earned that
Yeah.
insanity to
Mhm.
I
be.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree with what Rico was saying. I think we should have spotlights for like kind of like throwing things at the board, like throwing darts at the board. And I then to piggyback off that, I think we still should have more special presentations, but
That's that's what I
treat them
thought.
like a setup. Like I
Yeah.
was saying, like if we have a Doorman episode to explore the whole dark dimension, maybe you could have a cloak reference or a cloak cameo or something
Mhm.
like that to then set up Wonder Man. It's like, all right, we care about this connection. We care, but if you to Rico's point, if it's just gonna be something that's just for this, that needs to be the spotlight. So that kind of brings me to, I mean, you actually hit it on the money with everything. What I was gonna say, what are our spotlights? What are we doing with this? Because we have
Yeah.
regular Marvel television, which is Daredevil, WandaVision, all of this stuff. Then we got special presentations. We have spotlights, which this was a Marvel spotlight.
Spotlight.
And I'm
So
kind
what's
of
all been
like
considered a spotlight for them so
just
far?
Echo and this. That's
That's
literally
this is the
it.
only
And I'm
two.
like,
I
and
genuinely
Echo
think
sets
that
up
this. Yeah.
Daredevil born like so Echo comes from Hawkeye. We know
Yeah.
that. She's in Hawkeye, right? Yeah, she was in
Yes.
Hawkeye.
Okay.
Then it goes Echo, and then it goes right into Daredevil Born Again.
Mhm.
So I feel like the spotlights are kind of what I thought they were the special presentations were, which are setups. That's what the spotlights feel like. It's like a setup, which kind of brings me to this was going to be something I saved for the end, but I kind of want to talk about this now. We kind of closed out our Doorman Ding Dong Davis stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So what's next for Wonder Man, right? Like that's like the big question we kind of all talking about here. What do we do next with Wonder Man? And for me, my only theory is he stays the actor. Like that was the question I think Zen put
Really?
in the chat. I think he's the one that's gonna break the doorman policy. I think because basing it off the comics, he's like Rico said, he's both. He's still a
Mhm.
superhero, but he's still an actor. So I feel like he's gonna be the one to now I'm Wonder Man, but I'm still Simon Williams. And I think
Hmm.
the way they do that is I like what Rico was talking about is Sam or I'm thinking maybe Rhodey comes and it's like, yo, West Coast Avengers. Because that's
Hmm.
what it is. That's what happens in the comics. So that's my only thought is that he might appear in Doomsday. I don't know the whole where or how he's set up. Maybe it is in Armor Wars because they're saying that's still on the table. But I feel like the only way for that's how I feel. I feel like the
It
only
feels like Armor
way
Wars is so needed though. It does.
I agree.
It
I
feels like it's
agree.
so
I
necessary.
agree. It
That
feels
feels
like
like the tax write off. That
Yeah.
feel like the tax write off. G.
Man.
and it's crazy because that's the only like what's next for him. Everybody wants to know. We want Ya back as Simon Williams. He did
Yeah.
phenomenal. The show is like
Agreed.
to Rico's point. It's high on Rotten Tomatoes that everybody cares about,
Mhm.
but not just the critics. Fans
Yeah.
want him back.
Yeah.
So I feel like the only way you do that is either whether it's Sam and he's actually a part of the Avengers, which that's hit or miss. You do Rhodey on Armor Wars, and he's actually a part of the West Coast Avengers. But not the Avengers thing is really not what my focus is. My focus is that he is gonna be the one to break the doorman policy to
And
where he can be a hero still,
mm,
but he's still an actor.
so
You
how
think
do
it's
you
like?
go ahead?
Go ahead. I do about to ask the same question. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So how do you think he actually like how do you think Hollywood and America's like or America or people are like okay with him breaking that policy? Like, do you think that's because he's like in a like West Coast Avenger? Like
I
that they're
think
like,
that's the
oh,
only way. I
because
think that's the
besides
only
that, like
way.
that's what we like.
I think he accidentally gets outed, either doing his own stunts or like literally on some like mama not watching her baby walks into the street, he doesn't think, he just acts.
Facts.
And obviously the fire truck hits him and flips over him or something like that, which then outs him to the world. It's gonna be something, in my opinion, basic, because once again, one of the drawing forces, because he started as a stuntman first in the comics, and it was the fact that he couldn't die. Like no,
Mm-hmm.
and they were the person I was watching was joking and was like, because he's essentially just pure energy, like he always shows up to the fight in the freshest fit he could find because it's not going to get damaged. Because he just like, so it's like he can wear whatever he wants, like anything he decides to wear, he's good. So that's how I think they're gonna, if they are planning on bringing him back, I think that he gets outed as a super powered individual fairly easily. If they want to play within the movie thing, it's probably a stunt that goes horribly wrong that should burn him a crisp. And just
And it
like the
doesn't.
fire, he walks away with literally his clothes aren't even burnt type stuff. Or like I said, day in the life, and he saves some kid from being horribly killed or something like that, which then makes it impossible for the CODC to arrest him because this is a public figure. And you already know y'all probably don't got an answer for him. Like in the comics, his only weakness is his mental health.
Yeah.
And they were saying, and I think that's my issue, because the only reason I even know that is because of the summary and the abridged version that I looked over. They should have explained better what his actual ability is. I understand, like we said, that they did put his superpowers on the back burner to display the acting, the chemistry, the drive to be great. All of that was beautiful. It was beautifully shot. All of that. At the end of the day, if the spotlight is what we think the spotlight is, and it's a tryout for potential future use, we actually need to know what your power is
What's your power?
outside of
Yep.
yelling
And
and
all
stuff blowing up
they tell us
around you.
is he can play with ions. Like, bro,
We didn't hear
that's not
we
enough.
didn't hear ionic energy until the last 3
Last
minutes of the
episode.
series.
Yep.
That's a problem, in my opinion. And now he has perfect use of it. We haven't seen you train. We don't know
Yeah.
what you like. We don't know why you can do what you do.
Yeah.
I
He
don't
can
know
just
how your
fly out of nowhere. Now
I
he can
don't know
just
how your
fly.
flight works. I don't know how you messing with cameras and all. Like I don't know none of this. You feel me? So I think that, you know, it's an interesting show, because if, like, let's say that they were just like, hey, you know, we just tried something. It ended well enough. However, you introduced so many new things that you didn't pay off that you have to answer those,
It
because
needed
Cloak and
one
Dagger aren't
more. It needed one more episode. It needed one more episode
okay.
of what you literally just are saying. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could have.
Shit, it could have did it with a post credit scene,
He
something,
could have
bro.
done, yeah,
Like
but him actually outing himself on set or whatever, like
we
anything like
needed
that,
we
could
needed
have
an
been a
Iron Man
thing.
1 moment where he's like, I am
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man. That's what we needed. We needed that moment where he's in front of the public and he's just there. He's like, I am Wonder Man. Showcasing the powers, whatever the case may be. But that,
Yeah,
I feel like that is the thing. Like, and maybe another
and
episode to
you
your
maybe
point.
end it like with a montage of him actually on set using his powers and stuff, and like he breaks the doorman policy. Like that could have easily have worked as a finale of like, okay,
Another
now he's
thing
Wonder
though,
Man. He's out, but he's also acting.
one thing that you just made me think about. Me and Zen were talking about it in chat and Caesar as well. But the doorman, like I don't remember what his first name is, but it was Davis. His last
DeMar.
name was Demar
Demar
Davis.
Davis.
Demar Ding Dong Davis. What I found was, like Zen said, he was like, bro, they got that man in prison. Bro, does he deserve to be in prison? Technically, he killed Josh Gad, but that's like a person that didn't really know how to control his powers. He didn't know what he was doing. He became you gave him success because of it. And it felt like I said in the chat, it felt like one of those situations where they're just utilizing a black man because he has this power and they can get whatever they want out of him. And then, to your point, the superhero fatigue, they just ditch him to the side. Now he's in prison, which, to Rico's, but we don't really know if he's in prison, right? We just that's the assumption. That's like the implication. But if
That
he
would
is in
suck too, because
prison,
he doesn't even have his powers anymore, right? Because he's like,
if he is in
he's a regular
prison,
dude now.
why is that his? Why like we got fucking Wanda, who kills people, literally killed people as a part of the Avengers, bro. Like, why is that the choice to go with? So I don't know. I I feel like that was one thing I didn't really like what they did with Doorman. Um, and I kind of guess kind of brings me back to the whole episode of it. Like that was probably my weaker episode, but the episode I'm struggling to figure out my favorite episode between the one right after that, episode 5, which is the audition, which I want to get into, and then what was the episode 6? No, was episode 6 the audition or was no? I think
Uh,
episode 5 was the audition, right?
I think
Episode 5,
five was the audition
and
because
then 6 was
six was the revelation.
it was
Six or
8
seven.
episodes, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So was eight the revelation?
Hold on.
Nah, 8 was the movie, like the movie got made, and then half of that episode with him was him following Chuck Eastman to get to Trevor. So I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
7,
Yeah.
I think 7 was seven was the episode where Trevor decides to put himself in jail and everything like that. So I think 5 was the audition. I think 6, what was 6 though?
Uh, five. Five is the episode they celebrate the callbacks over a drink.
5 was the episode where I remember 5 was the episode where they got the where they go to get, yeah, like he had the drinks and then they had to go save get the motorcycle or whatever from
Yeah,
that dude, and then
yeah,
the DOD and then the cops
Oh,
come.
yeah.
yeah. They're making
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
candy.
My struggle between like what my, because that's my question to you guys, is what your favorite episode was, but my struggle is to figure out, did I like episode 5 because I love that whole having to stop like the news coming out of who I am and stuff like that. Like that's just a trope I feel like in all like cops shows or
Mhm.
action show. You know what I'm saying? I love that. But then I really loved episode 6 and the audition. So I want to throw it over to you guys. That's my struggle, is between the two. I don't really know which one I like more. Dennis, do you have a favorite episode?
It's probably 6 for me. When they're at Kovac's house and like
Yeah.
they're actually auditioning and stuff, like that was just, I thought that was very well like made, directed, acted, everything like this. It felt like I was actually getting a peek inside of like what it could be like. And just him struggling at first, but then like figuring it out, and obviously see him and Trevor's relationship, do their thing. He gets back on his acting thing, and he impresses. Then they had that jump scare too, which was crazy. That was wild.
That was wild,
That
bro.
was
hold on.
I looked at Allie.
I'm glad that you bring that
I
up.
was like, what in the boys? I'm like, what we got going on?
I'm very glad you bring that up, because we got to remember that was a dream, and we
Yeah.
find out, what was it in Multiverse of Madness, that dreams are alternate
alternate
realities.
realities.
So he did, Wonder Man basically kill somebody in another universe in the grand
That's
scheme of the
crazy.
multi.
That's crazy, dude.
Rico, what about you? You got a favorite episode?
I'm gonna say the audition as well. Mostly for that balcony scene between
Mhm.
Simon and Trevor, because you're watching it all come to a head. You're watching him getting his own way again,
Mhm.
and now he has somebody to pull him off the ledge. Whereas at first it's like, all right, folks gonna let you they're gonna keep giving you rope and then you're gonna hang yourself, which is what we saw in episode 1. He just kept talking. It's like, you all right, you got the moon. You got the moon thing. I think he eventually even got the book that he wanted, all that. Now you're doing a lot. Now we gotta fire you. Whereas this one, this is him actively screwing up the audition, using somebody else's IP as part of his audition. It's like, okay, you did Pretty Woman. Like, you like, that's not, you don't do that. That's like, especially if they can spot it, he should have been sent home.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, so it's watching him recognize his bad habits again, watching him realize how close he is to like a dream fulfilled, and Trevor, who is actively betraying him, but in this moment being the realest he could have possibly been for him, pull him off the ledge and be like, bro, whatever you've done before, whatever you've gone through before, you need to use that for this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can't let that define you, but you can let it help you for this audition. Like, I actually just watched that scene, I think today when I was at breakfast, and it was so powerful. Like I said, from the creative perspective, from an acting perspective, where you bump your head so many times, and even worse when you can point out where you were flawed at, where you messed up, and to have somebody there who not only believes in you but is willing to like slap you awake and make you realize like who you are.
Yeah.
Like that was such a powerful scene. Like I really enjoyed that.
Mhm.
And then followed by the revelation episode, because we're now watching it all come to a head where it's like you're at your happiest moment.
Mhm.
You have somebody who actively believes in you, maybe to the chagrin of your talent agency, because he's helping educate you in all the ways of acting and whatnot.
Hmm.
And then it comes out, it's like, yeah, bro, I've been wearing a wire this whole time, G.
Mm.
And you're watching it like he could have took him out right then and there, and he doesn't know what to do with his anger. He doesn't know what to do with these feelings of betrayal. And obviously, we see the parallels between that and then Barnaby and Wonder Man and all of that type of stuff. So, yeah, man, the audition and the revelation are back to back my two favorite episodes for
The
Yeah,
sure.
the
one thing I wanted a little bit more of was the turnaround after the balcony scene. I wanted maybe like a little bit more of
the audition
him,
itself.
yeah, the auditioning of it, like him turning it
Him winning,
around,
him
him
actively
winning.
winning.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I wanted maybe a little bit more, maybe him impressing the room a lot more and stuff
Hmm.
like that.
yeah,
Where
I
we were
agree.
like,
I
oh,
That was
he
my thing
really
too.
killing it. Like I want to see him
yeah.
actually like kill it more.
I
But
I
think
want
I'm
that
to
was
with
see.
it.
y'all.
I would have liked that payoff. You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That was
I
it
think I'm
though.
with y'all though. That was probably my favorite episode. I just really liked the episode 5 because I like that whole little trope. But
Yeah.
I texted Chad. I was like, bro, I got teary eyed when he act like you know he's gonna get the show is Wonder Man. You know
Yeah,
he's gonna get the role, but to see him actually achieve his dream, his goal, and then you know how
Mhm.
much that one role meant to him. I was like, I got teary eyed. I was like, dang, yo, this is good television. Like this is
yeah.
good television,
That's good TV right there.
right? You know what I'm saying? Before we head
Facts.
out of here, man, I gotta ask y'all, Rico. I'll throw it over to you first. I know you had some thoughts. What are your final thoughts and things that you want to get out before we head out of here?
Um, I really liked it. I'm tired of Marvel playing around with the whole like mutants thing. Marvel plays around with a lot of things that
A
need to
lot.
just pay off, in my
Yes.
opinion.
Just do it.
I
Just
can't
do the
I
thing.
can't I can't specifically remember what Snowden, shout out Snowden, was annoyed with. It was a show before, and I can't, or maybe it was a movie. I cannot remember exactly what it was, but Marvel has this thing where they feel like we need a lead up every single time, and it's like it can just be what it is.
100%.
You feel me? Like I put it in the chat. My theory was I still think he's a mutant. I think that that's going to eventually come out. What I thought was going to happen,
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
the so what I thought was going to happen was the day that Simon's pops pulls him out of school because he's scared of being bullied. They go watch Wonder Man, and they go and they're eating burgers. I thought Pops was gonna have a heart attack.
Mm.
I thought Pops was going, and this is after they just had a heart to heart moment. I wasn't rooting for it, but that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought, no, this heart to heart moment. We watching Wonder Man. I think you can really be a great actor. You just got to push yourself. What you did, I believe in you. You were really good, so on
Mhm.
and so forth. I thought Pops was going to die there, and we know with most mutants outside of puberty, something traumatic happening to you will trigger your powers. What's more
Sharingan.
traumatic than your dad dying in front of you after being such a motivating factor? And that would have charged him up, or whatever his however his powers would have
Hmm.
manifested, which then would have also built into Eric's disdain for his brother. Outside of being babied by his mom, dad wouldn't be eating those burgers if you were doing better in school and he had to pull you out because you were scared to get bullied. All of
Mm.
that type of stuff. Like
Hmm.
why do you deserve to be the last one to see dad alive? All of that type of stuff, right?
Mm.
Uh that's what I was hoping something along those lines was gonna pay off, but I don't get paid to write these shows. I do think that Wonder Man should return. I don't think it's gonna be in Doomsday. I can potentially see Secret Wars, and this is obviously without me truly knowing what the plot of Secret Wars even is. Um, I don't see him coming in Doomsday though. I can see him being recruited when they realize that Doom really got like, hey, this dude is tough. We don't have an answer for him right now. We need somebody who is unpredictable. And I guess ions are a very unpredictable energy to deal with, or
Mhm.
whatever. But all of that to say, I enjoyed it. Once again, I understand those who may not have rocked with it because they did put the superhero aspect very much on the back burner. That
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily my favorite part, but once I accepted that that was what they were doing, which I kind of figured with the episodes only being like 35 minutes, when I accepted that that was what they were doing, I was able to appreciate it for the chemistry between a British dude and a dude from New Orleans,
Crazy
the
chemistry.
acting, the just the quest to like follow your dreams and seeing it be so close. And like I said, you getting in your own way, outside forces are getting in your way, loved ones are getting in your way, and you know that if I get this one break, so much stuff is gonna change. How many people have felt like that on a day-to-day basis? What it don't gotta be following your dreams. It can just be if I can just not have to pay emergency bill for two weeks in a row,
Hmm.
I can make something shake. And it always
Mhm.
feels like it's something that's getting in the way. I felt that on an emotion. Like this actually really tugged at me from like an
Hmm.
emotional perspective because it was watching somebody who I can almost see myself in, like getting that final break after saying, I don't need a motivational talk. I need a break. And you finally getting that break after taking so many chances on yourself, after finally getting out of your way and allowing what's supposed to happen. Really great, man. Really, really enjoyed it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think in regards to my MCU series, it's like six or seven, maybe. But I really enjoyed it. If folks just needed something to watch, I would definitely recommend that because
Hmm.
I don't think you got to know Marvel that well to know it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think it's really good. I think it stands pretty well on its own, and I'm hopeful for if not a season two that he pops up in movies down the line. But a season two would be cool because these guys aren't getting any younger, so
How
I
would
do
you
have a
bring him
get
back?
theory.
to it.
I was about to say
That was gonna be
I
my
do got a
question for
theory.
both of y'all. How would
Besides
you
that,
bring him back? Like
besides my
in what
theory of
way?
like Avengers, like a way of
Yeah.
Avengers, the only other aspect is if he pops up in Vision Quest. With that supposed to be a
That's.
deep dive into Vision and their
Hmm.
history and everything. That's really the only way I feel like you could do
Hmm.
it. Keep it television for now. It's still
Yeah.
2026.
So,
You know what I'm
so
saying?
would you throw him into that kind of like how the comics do with like the Wanda of it all
I mean,
and
yeah,
everything? Would you
like
throw
I
him
said in the
into
chat,
that?
I would love to see him and Wanda date. Like that's supposed to be a thing. Like, right? That's supposed to be
Hmm.
a thing in the comics. Now, if that's gonna be the payoff, who really knows? But
Hmm.
I feel like Vision Quest would be the next because that's supposed to be this year, 2020, supposed to be, right? So
Hmm.
we don't really know, but that would be the next thing to me that makes sense.
I think the only issue I have with that is that White Vision is already established as
Hmm.
a character. So like you're here, so you didn't use Simon's brainwaves.
You used Vision's
You
brainwaves, like
feel
the
me? So
original.
that's
That's fair.
that's the only thing. But if I was writing how I would bring him back, um, I think I would link. It would probably have to still be Avengers related, honestly.
Hmm.
It could just be a season. I wouldn't mind a season two, but like, let's say that
Yeah.
they like, we ain't really feeling another series, and we want to bring him for movies. That way, you can actually see what his powers look like. How I would go about it is either towards the end or the middle of the movie when they really understand how strong Doom is.
Hmm.
Now we got to bring in people that we've had our eyes on, but we haven't called them
Mm.
because
That would be so fire.
they haven't chosen to be
Mhm.
heroes themselves, right? So Spider-Man Peter is forgotten, but people know about Spider-Man, but maybe he been kind of kicking it like, look, bro, I'm trying to be friendly neighborhood. I finally
Hmm.
understand what it means to be friendly neighborhood. And then he gets called again. So
Hmm.
now he's being pulled back into this world of everything is bigger than me. Now, okay, we got him. Miss Marvel's already kind of on some like she's already done her
Cosmic
cosmic
shit.
journey,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it wouldn't be too out of left field for them to call her,
Yeah.
although they probably would try to avoid it being as young as she is, but it's like all hands on deck. And I can see somebody, I don't know who, I can see somebody walking onto a Hollywood set in between break or while he's at Crafty or something like that and being like, Simon Williams, like, oh, do you want an autograph? It's like, nah, bro, like, we need your help.
Mm.
And he's like, I don't know how I can help you. and he come to his trailer like, you don't know how you can help me, and they got like evidence of things he's done with his powers, and they got this big dumb hole in the middle of the COCDC, whatever it's called, and it's just like, well, like, are you gonna tell anybody? It's like, no, but we need your help because it's something like that's bigger than us going on, so on and so forth. So those are the ways I would bring it on, where like he's I can't think of like a substitute where it's like, bro, do y'all have any kind of like how they did for Civil War, where it was like, we need more
With
reinforcements.
Ant-Man,
Like,
with Ant-Man,
it's
yeah.
like where your guy at? Oh, he in so and so. Where your guy at? Or he in Hollywood. Hollywood. And then it pops in on like the back of his chair that just says Williams or something like that. And he's like,
Yo,
just
what if?
kinda
Hold on,
sitting,
hold on, hold on.
The
looking at
chair.
What if that's what they did with the chairs, bro? What if that's why they did the chairs? That would be. They really playing with the meta
You know
shit?
what? They
That would
could
be
play off.
crazy.
If they wanted to, they could pay that off because the chairs thing was it was so weirdly received. They could the exact same font that they used to announce all the names. Use that exact same font to zoom out and say Williams. It's him looking over his sides for the next scene or whatnot, and somebody walking in like, "Hey, Simon Williams, I don't know time for autographs. We don't want an autograph. We want your help." Yada yada yada. So that's how I would go about it. If he's going to be coming in the movies, he would be in like the second, third, or maybe like the last 2/3 or the last third of Doomsday. Maybe not a main character, but a main supporting character in Secret Wars, whatever that's supposed to be or look like, and then we move from there. But I enjoyed the series.
Dennis, what you got for me? Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Basically, I mean, everything Rico said was very well put. I enjoyed it. I feel all of what he said, and I want more of it. I honestly just want more. And the way, the more we talked about it, I was like, damn, like just an extra 9th episode would have been nice of just showing what actually happened after that, like after he broke him out, and like what happened to make him just like an established character. I think would have, because like we've been saying, like we don't know if we're gonna get a season 2. We don't know if we'll ever see this character again, which I think we will. But like it's kind of up in the air, and it would have been nice to just end on like he's established as Wonder Man, who's acting and has powers, and he's out, and he's broken down the Doorman policy, and
that would have been good to see here. Like
it'd have been cool, and it'd have been cool just as a 9th episode. Like that's what happens, and then as far as, but yeah, the thoughts on the show, great show. It was a really good watch. It was, I think, Allie's one of her favorite shows from the MCU. Yeah, just a couple little teases that obviously we want to see paid off, but I'd love for him to show up in one of these Avengers movies. I don't know. Like people are already throwing out the rumors that he's gonna show up. I don't know, and if they do it, I do hope that kind of in the way Rico said, like a team that they have to go find, like just go find some people. And I do think that could be an interesting way to introduce like other characters that we haven't even seen in the MCU yet, too. Like that'd be kind of cool too. It's like, we gotta find Ghost Rider. So I keep throwing Ghost Rider because that's just like an easy one to throw out. But like,
do you want him outed before he joins, or do you want this? Because this could also be the catalyst for how people find out
gets outed.
How he gets outed.
Like he saved the world type shit. So like now he's cool. He can act.
Yeah.
Like
it's like, bro, you did actually save the world.
I mean, because that's kind of what happened with the Avengers, right? Like the Avengers were technically disbanded. They were some of them were like Captain America. They were fugitives because of Civil War. Then it's like, well, they saved the world from Thanos.
That could be.
I do like that. I like that.
Like you throw him in there just so that like adds to his story and how he's established as a person that can act and be a superhero at the same time.
It's like, yo, he saved the world, bro. Fuck the Doorman policy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of like that.
I like that too.
Dennis, let the people know where to find you, man.
Man, I'm just Casual Den with 2 N's on Twitter /X. And then just we're on the unofficial Doomsday podcast. That's what we are doing weekly, every Monday, going live, talking about literally everything unofficial about Avengers Doomsday. So like any kind of rumors that we see and stuff like that, I mean, probably most of it's not going to be true, but there, I mean, people can, you're right.
It's
People
just
can.
fun.
It's
That's
It's fun to
fun.
funny.
do
It's
this.
fun to
That
cover it.
is funny.
It's fun to
I
cover.
like
That's why
that.
we named it the Unofficial Doomsday Podcast. Because like a lot of bullshit is being thrown at the wall right now. It's way too far out to know exactly what's happening.
Hmm.
But I
But
mean,
it's
I
fun to
do think
theorize.
that it's fun to theorize, and I do think parts of people's theories are going to come true. Like, we're people are smart. Like, you can piece together some things, right, that
Yeah.
can happen. But yeah, that we're talking about it. News, trailers, anything that kind of comes out, we talk about it. Some things are reported, some things are rumors. We just kind of cover it and have fun with it. I said, it's a hot topic to talk about, and we love it. So that's where I'm at.
Check us out there. Rico, let the people know where to find you at, man.
For all things music related, you can follow me on social media platforms at underscore Rico the artist. That is RICO the artist. My debut EP Open Gym dropped last November. It's on most streaming platforms. It wasn't on Spotify due to their alignment with ICE and ads and whatnot. Couldn't get with that, but they've recently taken those ads off, and so me and the team have been talking about potentially putting it back on Spotify. So stay on the lookout for that. I'll be making announcements about that. All things like comedy, skits and rants and all of that type of stuff will be on my secondary pages, which is underscore Rico Whitehead, just like below Rico Whitehead. Follow me. Either way, whether you want some music or you want some opinions, man, I got a little bit of everything for everybody. God has blessed me to be very multifaceted. Shout out to guys for having me.
Yeah.
Shout out to Yaya Abdul Mateen. Sir Ben Kingsley, Wonder Man was a really good series, man. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I don't know why you sat here this whole time and listened to us talk about it and you ain't watch it, but definitely make sure you watch it, bro. Shout out to the guys. This was fun. And whatever other thing that they need me to be on here and rant about, I will be on here ranting about it for sure.
We'll be talking
They'll
about some
both be
doomsday.
back. Yeah, I'm about to say they'll both be back, man. Y'all already
For
know you can
sure.
tap with me. Jam session, just replace the E with an X on all socials. This has been the Journey Across Media podcast. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Much love. Y'all be easy, man.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Check.